What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 72. And for this one, I want to discuss a topic that one of my patrons suggested for me, which is about the pros and cons of Boruto getting the scar in this battle with the 10-tailed soldiers and potentially getting a scar because he was protecting Sarada, or because Sarada herself was forced to give Boruto the scar because Momoshiki took over his body during the battle. Now, narratively, I think there's a lot here that we can work with on this, and by a lot I mean there's a surprising amount of what can be used in terms of conflict to drive this story forward. And with the manga chapter only being a few days away, now is as good of a time as any in order to discuss this scenario. Jumping right into it, let's look at what we do know. We do know that right now Sarada is leading Team 7 on a mission that requires Kawaki to be with them, which likely means that this is a mission to escort Amato, because Amato has Ada with them, and Kawaki is someone who Ada has the most interest in as a character for whatever her motives are. It makes the most sense for them to meet up narratively, and the idea that Code makes the wrong decision to have the 10-tailed soldiers track down Team 7 is a realistic option to take. He doesn't have Ada with him as an ally anymore, so he wouldn't know how close Team 7 was to Ada, Damon, and Amato. Given how many miscalculations we've seen Code make, it's not the craziest idea for this to be something that occurs. In fact, it feels largely in character for Code to miscalculate and to take an L of this proportion. Ambushing Boruto and company after tracking them down, his 10-tailed soldiers are slapping around Team Sarada with the exception of Kawaki and Boruto, and then just when the numbers advantage looks like it might get the upper hand, Damon shows up and destroys a few of them and forces them to retreat. In all honesty, it feels like something that could happen because Code would know he doesn't want any smoke with Damon, and given Ada warned him to try to not to harm Kawaki, or she would personally track him down to kill him, it makes a lot of sense for him to retreat and regather his forces, potentially aim for Konoha afterwards. After seeing Boruto being snatched as a non-starter as a possibility, and it opens up the door to have Boruto willingly start chasing after Code, which in turn would be a smart route to take, because if you can't snatch him by force, you make Boruto come to you. However, it's the other possibility that my patron pointed out that I actually love right here. So Momoshiki did say to Boruto, "You are my precious vessel. I will not allow anything bad to happen to you at any cost," which makes a lot of sense. Momoshiki might not be able to revive using Boruto, but he can hijack his body under the right circumstances, and he is someone who's afraid to die. I don't think it's crazy to say that if Boruto is not able to fully pull out all of Momoshiki's chakra using his karma, but instead only a certain amount like he did against Code, and Momoshiki does hijack his body, the idea we see Momoshiki get the drop on Kawaki if Kawaki's guard is lowered due to him thinking that he's fighting alongside the real Boruto, it's not crazy for Kawaki to be off guarded and knocked unconscious. That leads to a scenario where Momoshiki just bodies the 10-tailed soldiers who Code sent, and then Momoshiki turns his eyes over to Sarada and Mitsuki. We've seen the parallels with Boruto and Kawaki before. It's something that we've seen done quite a bit. The last time we saw Team 7 all gathered together was in Chapter 58, where Kawaki attacked members of Team 7, and Boruto was the one who stepped in to fight Kawaki 1 versus 1 in order to settle the dispute. If we have Momoshiki controlling Boruto's body against Sarada and Mitsuki, there are a few paths where this could actually go, including one scenario where Kawaki ends up being the one that protects Sarada and Mitsuki, similar to how Boruto did when Kawaki attacked him during the training session. That would be a nice reversal of the fortunes. Now, you could also go with a scenario where Momoshiki lets it slip that Kawaki's the one who attacked Boruto and not Code, and actually was the one who killed Boruto if Momoshiki hadn't stepped in. It makes for a lot of future tension with Team 7 and Kawaki. It also directly places Sarada and Mitsuki in a battle with the very thing that they were hoping to reach in terms of power, which is an Otsutsuki level threat. A 10-tails army made from a juvenile 10-tails that are in possession of Code's chakra. That's one thing, but fighting an Otsutsuki vessel, being controlled by the Otsutsuki soul that's attached to the karma, and facing its true power, that's another thing altogether. Where this goes even further in conflict is the dynamic of Team 7 moving forward. Mitsuki and Sarada saw this power up close, but they were saved by it during the battle against Boro. Now that very power that once again saved them would be turned against them with intent to harm. That changes everything, and it opens up a fight or a flight instinct Even better, it also causes you to realize that while things just got out of hand, Sarada and Mitsuki now have a clear goal for their power. In this scenario, they would have seen what Kawaki could do at full power, and they would have fought against Momoshiki, who controlled Boruto in this scenario. It's not enough to reach Otsutsuki level so as to be useful to Boruto. They have to be strong enough to contain him in order to save him from himself if Momoshiki takes control, and they have to be strong enough to stop Kawaki from taking things too far, even if it's the right decision that Kawaki makes. Also, this battle pays off Sasuke's conversation with Sarada, where Sasuke warned her, there might come a day where you will raise your kunai against Boruto. If that time came where it had to be done, could you actually do so? Sarada had a moment of clarity during her battle with Chocho where she recalled those events, and having Sarada pay it off right here would be something that works narratively. One thing that we've seen with Boruto is that when he's fighting to suppress Momoshiki, he covers up his eye or he closes his eye, which could be foreshadowing. If Sarada and Mitsuki can't figure it out, the idea of Sarada giving Boruto that scar in an attempt to wake up Boruto from Momoshiki's control, it isn't that crazy. In fact, it feels like something that's a narrative possibility. Boruto getting that scar from Sarada would symbolize a few things: a future Hokage giving a scar to a shadow Hokage. It would be a symbolic parallel to Naruto giving Sasuke a scratch on his headband, where the future Hokage gave a scratch to the future shadow Hokage. But in this case, it would be Sasuke's daughter doing it to Naruto's son, bringing it full circle in a way. It would also be a constant reminder to Boruto about what happens if he were to ever lose control. Waking up every morning to see that scar on his face, it will be damning, and it will be a reminder to Sarada of why she can't afford to stay where she is progression-wise. It gives both of them something to work for. On the other hand, my patron's idea of having Boruto get the scars a direct idea of Boruto having to protect Sarada. It works narratively, though not as well when you think about it. It kind of runs the risk of dragging Sarada down to being a damsel of distress, which, yikes, you do not want to make the same mistake twice that you made with Hinata and Sakura, where both of them fought, but they more than once had to be rescued by someone in the male cast, from Hinata being rescued by the Jonin when Neji tried to kill her, to Naruto rescuing her from Tsuneri, to Sakura being saved by Naruto when she was protecting Sasuke from guard, to Kakashi saving her from a Chidori through the heart by Sasuke at the 5 Kage Summit, which I've actually done a what if on what if Sasuke killed Sakura, which I recommend checking out. Now, Sarada, if she is gonna become the Hokage, she's gotta be more like Tsunade than Sakura or Hinata. She's gotta be someone who takes the charge in a fight or plays a major support role until it becomes time for her to step in and swing the tide of battle briefly, or have that cool train of mind to react to a dangerous scenario in order to be a better of assistant to her comrades. While I like the idea because it gives Boruto a good character moment to make him more of a likable character, that does run the risk of damaging Sarada too much in my opinion. I understand wanting to keep the stakes raised in this instance by providing Boruto a potential handicap, but that brings her down a peg in a bad way. Her becoming Hokage one day will be like what it would feel like if Konohamaru became the Hokage. We really scraped the bottom of the barrel with this one. In fact, characters in universe know Konohamaru at best only goes up to an elite Jonin ranking. They saw Konohamaru dressed up as Hokage and they said, Genjutsu at this level don't work on me.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
That being said, Sarada and Mitsuki might be punching above their weight class in this battle, unless we learn that they had more off-screen training, which you could argue is being implied by Boruto chapter 58, where we see them having training sessions on increasing the spiritual side of your chakra through meditation, which in turn increases your chakra levels. If we see Kawaki and Boruto holding off 10-tailed soldiers easily with just the basic karma seal, it is an easier pill to swallow if Mitsuki and Sarada are having trouble with the 10-tailed soldiers, but they're not getting bullied around. If Boruto and Kawaki are struggling, however, the only way this makes sense is if the 10-tailed soldiers are on a sliding scale, which I do believe is the case in this scenario, similar to how not all the Biju had the same power level. I'm curious to know which scenario you guys prefer the most. While you think that over, click here to watch my Otsutsuki Clan installment of the Strongest in Naruto playlist, and click here to watch my Chainsaw Man chapter 104 review.